Hello and welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanziba Naurin. In today's bulletin, we will present important news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. California keeps wary eye on flooding after powerful storm. Time zone by time zone, another New Year sweeps into view. One dead, 9 hurt in Alabama shooting near New Year's Eve party. Historic term begins in Michigan as Whitmer others sworn in. Democrat Kathy Hochul sworn in as elected New York governor. Democrat Katie Hobbs takes office as Arizona governor. New York okays human composting law, sixth state in US to do so. Hundreds of migrants in Florida in what sheriff calls crisis. Full speed ahead, Avatar sequel again dominates box office. Jeremy Renner seriously injured while plowing snow in Nevada. More than 60,000 view Benedict XVI's body at Vatican. Helicopters collide over Australian beach, 4 passengers dead. "14 killed in attack on Mexican border prison." Brazil's Lula sworn in, vows accountability and rebuilding. Prince Harry says he wants his father and brother back. Fans mourn Pele at public viewing in Brazil stadium. Moscow says Ukrainian rocket strike kills 63 Russian troops. Canada, Australia impose COVID rules on travelers from China. Rafael Nadal loses again at United Cup in Sydney. And Alabama juniors Young, Anderson, Gibbs declare for NFL draft. Now news in detail. Flood warnings and watches were in effect Monday in parts of Northern California in the aftermath of a powerful atmospheric river storm that drenched the state over New Year's weekend. A new weather system was predicted by afternoon or evening, but the National Weather Service said the rain would be modest until the arrival late Tuesday of another strong atmospheric river, a long plume of Pacific Ocean moisture. Even with the respite from drenching rains and heavy snowfall, flood warnings and watches remained in effect in the Sacramento County area, where widespread flooding and levee breaches in the agricultural region inundated roads and highways. Emergency crews rescued motorists on New Year's Eve into Sunday morning. Crews on Sunday found one person dead inside a submerged vehicle near Highway 99. Dan Quiggle, Deputy Fire Chief for Operations for Consumes Community Service District Fire Department, told the Sacramento Bee. Sacramento County authorities issued an evacuation order late Sunday for residents of the low-lying community of Point Pleasant near Interstate 5, citing imminent and dangerous flooding. Residents of the nearby communities of Glanville Tract and Franklin Pond were told to prepare to leave before more roadways were cut off by rising water and evacuation becomes impossible. New Year's celebrations swept across the globe, ushering in 2023 with countdowns and fireworks, and marking an end to a year that brought war in Europe, a new chapter in the British monarchy, and global worries over inflation. The new year began in the tiny atoll nation of Kiribati in the Central Pacific, then moved across Russia and New Zealand before heading deeper, time zone by time zone, through Asia and Europe and into the Americas. The ball dropped on New York City's iconic Times Square as huge crowds counted down the seconds into 2023, culminating in raucous cheers and a deluge of confetti glittering amid jumbo screens, neon, pulsing lights, and soggy streets. A man wielding a machete attacked three police officers near the celebration, authorities said, striking two of them in the head before an officer shot the man in the shoulder about 8 blocks from Times Square, just outside the high-security zone. The two officers were hospitalized, one with a fractured skull and the other with a bad cut, but expected to recover. The 19-year-old suspect was also expected to recover across the world, at least for a day. Thoughts focused on possibilities, even elusive ones like world peace and mustering, finally a resolve to keep the next array of resolutions. One person was killed and 9 hurt in a shooting a few blocks away from where thousands were in the streets for a New Year's Eve party in downtown Mobile, Alabama, police said. TV news footage showed police officers running and on horseback rushing to the area where the shooting took place about 45 minutes before midnight Saturday. Neither the name of the person killed nor the conditions of the 9 people taken to the hospital have been released by police. The shooting happened a few blocks away from the main stage for the Moon Pie Over Mobile Festival. The event continued on with fireworks and a moon pie dropping from a downtown building at midnight to mark the start of 2023. The shooter and the person killed appeared to know each other, Mobile Police Chief Paul Prine told reporters near the scene. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was sworn in for second term as the state's 49th governor on Sunday, pushing a message of unity and working together during remarks on the state capitol steps as Democrats took full control of the state government for the first time in 40 years. Whitmer, who was first elected in 2018 after serving as a state lawmaker for 14 years, won re-election in November by defeating Republican Tudor Dixon by nearly 11 percentage points. Alongside her on Sunday were other top Democratic leaders, including newly re-elected Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, Attorney General Donna Nessel, and Lieutenant Governor Gerlin Gilchrist II. During her inauguration address, Whitmer pledged to pursue common-sense gun reform, continue investing in K-12 education, improve worker rights, lower taxes for the state's retirees, and tackle climate change, adding that she would provide more specifics in her upcoming State of the State speech with a newly powerful Democratic caucus. Whitmer faces a test of delivering on years of promises in a swing state where Democrats must appeal to more than just their base or risk losing their majorities when the legislature is up for grabs again in 2 years. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was sworn in for her first elected term on Sunday, making history as the first woman elected to the position in the state. The Democrat launching her term as the 57th governor of New York said her goals were to increase public safety and to make the state more affordable. Right now, there are some fights we have to take on, Hochul said after taking the oath of office at the Empire State Plaza Convention Center in Albany. First, we must and will make our streets safer, Hochul also called for making the state more affordable, citing the high cost of living. Also sworn in Sunday was Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado. A native of Buffalo, Hochul, 64 years old, defeated Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin, an ally of Donald Trump, in November's election to win the office that she took over in 2021 when former Governor Andrew Cuomo resigned. Katie Hobbs takes the oath of office Monday to become Arizona's 24th governor and the first Democrat to hold the office since 2009. Power will transfer in a private ceremony at the state capitol as Hobbs formally takes over from Republican Doug Ducey. A public inauguration for Hobbs and others taking statewide offices is scheduled for Thursday. Hobbs is the outgoing Secretary of State and was previously a state legislator who rose to be the top Democrat in the Senate. As governor, she will have to work with the House and Senate narrowly controlled by Republicans. The new legislature convenes for the first time next week. Hobbs assumes control of a state with a strong economy and a solid financial position, with a large budget surplus forecast for the next fiscal year. Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul signed legislation on Saturday to legalize natural organic reduction, popularly known as human composting, making New York the sixth state in the nation to allow that method of burial. Washington state became the first state to legalize human composting in 2019, followed by Colorado and Oregon in 2021, and Vermont and California in 2022. The process goes like this. The body of the deceased is placed into a reusable vessel along with plant material such as wood chips, alfalfa, and straw. The organic mix creates the perfect habitat for naturally occurring microbes to do their work quickly and efficiently, breaking down the body in about a month's time. The end result is a heaping cubic yard of nutrient-dense soil amendment, the equivalent of about 36 bags of soil, that can be used to plant trees or enrich conservation land, forests or gardens. For urban areas such as New York City, where land is limited, it can be seen as a pretty attractive burial alternative. A U.S. national park comprising a cluster of uninhabited islands in the Florida Keys was closed Monday after 300 migrants made 10 landings there over the weekend, officials said. Dry Tortugas National Park, about 70 miles west of Key West, was closed so law enforcement and medical personnel could evaluate the migrants before moving them to Key West, the park tweeted. The closure, which is expected to last several days, is necessary for the safety of visitors and staff because of the resources and space needed to attend to the migrants, park officials said in their statement. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said in a tweet that at least 88 migrants were from Cuba. The national park is at the southern tip of the continental U.S. and attracts scuba divers and snorkelers for its coral reefs, nesting sea turtles, tropical fish, and shipwrecks. Avatar: The Way of Water is the box office king for a third straight week and shows no sign of slowing down. James Cameron's long-awaited sequel to the first Avatar film brought in an estimated $63 million over the holiday weekend, roughly the same as the previous week, and now has made more than $400 million domestically and more than $1.3 billion globally. The Way of Water is already the 15th highest global release ever, just behind the first Black Panther. Numbers released Sunday by ComScore showed Avatar far ahead of the runner-up, Universal's Shrek spin-off Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which made an estimated $16 million, and Disney's Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which brought in around $4.8 million. The Avengers star Jeremy Renner is being treated for serious injuries that happened while he was plowing snow, the actor's representative said. Renner, 51 years old, is in critical condition, although he is stable, the actor's representative said Sunday. No further details on the extent of Renner's injuries were available. The actor has a home in Nevada. The Washoe County Sheriff's Office said in a news release that Renner was injured in Reno and was flown to a hospital. He was the only person involved and the sheriff's office is investigating, according to the release. Reynolds plays Hawkeye, a sharpshooting member of the superhero Avengers squad in Marvel's sprawling movie and television universe. He is a two-time acting Oscar nominee, scoring back-to-back nods for The Hurt Locker and The Town. Reynolds' portrayal of a bomb disposal specialist in Iraq in 2008's The Hurt Locker helped turn him into a household name. Now it's time for Global Update. Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI's body, his head resting on a pair of crimson pillows, lay in state in St. Peter's Basilica on Monday, as tens of thousands queued to pay tribute to the pontiff who shocked the world by retiring a decade ago. On the eve of the first of 3 days of viewing, Italian security officials had said at least 25,000 to 30,000 people would come on Monday. But by mid-afternoon, around 6 hours after the basilica's doors opened to the public, Vatican police estimated that about 40,000 had filed by the body, the Holy See said. As daylight broke, 10 white-gloved papal gentlemen, lay assistants to pontiffs and papal households, carried the body on a cloth-covered wooden stretcher after its arrival at the basilica to its resting place in front of the main altar under Bernini's towering bronze canopy. A Swiss guard saluted as Benedict's body was brought in through a side door after it was transferred in a van from the chapel of the monastery grounds where the increasingly frail 95-year-old former pontiff died on Saturday morning. Faithful and curious, the public strode briskly up the center aisle to pass by the bier with its cloth draping after waiting in a line that by mid-morning snaked around St. Peter's Square. Benedict's body was dressed with a mitre, the peaked headgear of a bishop, and a red cloak. 2 helicopters collided in an Australian tourist hotspot Monday afternoon, killing 4 passengers and critically injuring 3 others in a crash that drew emergency aid from beachgoers enjoying the water during the southern summer. One helicopter appeared to have been taking off and the other landing when they collided near the SeaWorld theme park in Main Beach, a northern beach on the Gold Coast. Gary Orrell, Queensland State Police acting inspector, said at a news conference. One helicopter landed safely on a sandbank, but debris from the other was spread across an area police described as difficult to access. The dead and 3 most seriously injured people were all passengers in the crashed helicopter. 10 guards and 4 inmates were killed early Sunday when gunmen in armored vehicles attacked a state prison in Ciudad Juarez across the border from El Paso, Texas, according to state officials. The Chihuahua State Prosecutor's Office said in a statement that around 7 a.m. various armored vehicles arrived at the prison and gunmen opened fire on guards. In addition to those killed, 13 people were wounded and at least 24 inmates escaped. Mexican soldiers and state police regained control of the prison later Sunday. The state prosecutor's office said its personnel were investigating. In August, a riot inside the same state prison spread to the streets of Juarez in violence that left 11 people dead. In that case, 2 inmates were killed inside the prison, and then alleged gang members started shooting up the town, including killing 4 employees of a radio station who were doing a promotion at a restaurant. Brazil's Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva was sworn in as president on Sunday and in his first address expressed optimism about plans to rebuild while pledging that members of outgoing Jair Bolsonaro's administration will be held to account. Lula is assuming office for the 3rd time after thwarting far-right incumbent Bolsonaro's re-election bid. His return to power marks the culmination of a political comeback that is thrilling supporters and enraging opponents in a fiercely polarized nation. Our message to Brazil is one of hope and reconstruction, Lula said in a speech in Congress' lower house after signing the document that formally instates him as president. The great edifice of rights, sovereignty, and development that his nation built has been systematically demolished in recent years. To re-erect this edifice, we are going to direct all our efforts. Sunday afternoon in Brazil's main esplanade, the party was on. Tens of thousands of supporters decked out in the red of Lula's Workers' Party cheered after his swearing in. Prince Harry has said he wants to have his father and brother back and that he wants a family, not an institution, during a TV interview ahead of the publication of his memoir. The interview with Britain's ITV channel is due to be released this Sunday. In clips released Monday, Harry was shown saying that they feel as though it is better to keep us somehow as the villains and that they have shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile, though it was not clear who he was referring to. Harry, also known as the Duke of Sussex, and his wife Meghan have aired their grievances against the British monarchy since the couple stepped down as senior royals in 2020 and moved to California, where they now live with their two young children. Harry, 38 years old, has previously spoken about his estrangement from his father, King Charles III, and elder brother Prince William since his departure from the UK. Mourners began paying their respects to Pelé in a solemn procession past his coffin at the Vila Belmiro Stadium in his hometown of Santos on Monday. The Brazilian soccer great died Thursday after a battle with cancer. He was 82. Pelé's coffin was placed on the field where he scored some of the best goals of his career. Mourners walked past his casket in the 16,000-seat stadium outside Sao Paulo. His burial will take place in a cemetery only 600 meters away on Tuesday. Fans arrived at the stadium in the early hours of Monday to honor Edson Arantes do Nascimento, globally known as Pelé. Pelé's casket will be ushered through the streets of Santos before his burial. Brazil President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and other dignitaries are expected to attend. Pelé had undergone treatment for colon cancer since 2021. The medical center where he had been hospitalized said he died of multiple organ failure as a result of the cancer. Ukrainian forces fired rockets at a facility in the eastern Donetsk region where Russian soldiers were stationed, killing 63 of them, Russia's defense ministry said Monday, in one of the deadliest attacks on the Kremlin's forces since the war began more than 10 months ago. Ukrainian forces fired 6 rockets from a HIMARS launch system and 2 of them were shot down, a defense ministry statement said. It did not say when the strike happened. The strike, using a US-supplied precision weapon that has proven critical in enabling Ukrainian forces to hit key targets, delivered a new setback for Russia, which in recent months has reeled from Ukrainian counter-offensive. The Ukrainian military has not directly confirmed the strike but seemed to acknowledge what appeared to be the same attack that Russian authorities reported. Australia and Canada have joined a growing list of countries requiring travelers from China to take a COVID-19 test prior to boarding their flight, as China battles a nationwide outbreak of the coronavirus after abruptly easing restrictions that were in place for much of the pandemic. Australian health authorities said Sunday that from January 5, all air travelers from mainland China, Hong Kong or Macau will need to show a negative COVID-19 test taken within 2 days of their departure. Canadian authorities announced similar measures that will also come into effect January 5 in a statement dated Saturday, a move experts say isn't very effective. Now it's time for business news. Now a look of today's sports stories. Rafael Nadal lost again at the United Cup Mixed Teams tournament, shocking up Monday's defeat to Alex de Minaur to Rustinez. The second-ranked Nadal lost to the Australian 3-6, 6-1, 7-5 after having been beaten by Britain's Cameron Norrie in 3 sets. The record 22-time Grand Slam champion said he needs more matches like Monday's to be ready for his Australian Open title defense. On the other hand, Venus Williams is back in the win column. The 42-year-old Williams beat qualifier Katie Volynets 7-6, 6-2 in the first round at the ASB Classic on Monday for her first singles victory since Wimbledon in 2021. The 7-time major champion has been awarded a wildcard entry to play at the Australian Open. Alabama quarterback Bryce Young and linebacker Will Anderson Jr. are heading to the NFL, where both could contend for the top draft spot. Young, the 2021 Heisman Trophy winner, and the two-time unanimous All-American Anderson on Monday announced their decisions to skip their senior seasons, 2 days after leading Alabama to a 45-20 victory over Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl. Tailback Jahmyr Gibbs also is heading to the NFL, and coach Nick Saban said other players could follow. They endeared themselves to Crimson Tide faithful even more by not joining the ranks of bowl opt-outs among NFL prospects. Young passed for 321 yards and 5 touchdowns in New Orleans. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. That's all in today's news. Keep watching Millennium News 24 for latest updates. Millennium TV USA and Millennium News 24 network is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all types of informative and entertainment program. Thank you.